A guy that covers this league, he's already gone to the Bengals, the Commanders, the Falcons, the Steelers, and the Titans camps. One of our favorite, Kevin Clark, the Ringer, covered the NFL for now over a decade. Let's start with the Niners, just visually, and I've called it the salvage stage. And I think Zach Wilson Jets make them look good, get somebody at the deadline that needs a quarterback. I feel like Zach Wilson's been a little better than what I saw yesterday from Trey Lance. What did you make of what you saw?
If passer rating says Trey Lance was throwing the ball well yesterday, get rid of passer rating. I never want to see it again. I'm with you. I heard you say it didn't look comfortable. I don't know if the timelines are going to match up right now because Trey Lance looks like he needs a little bit more development, and the Niners are trying to win a Super Bowl. So I think you kind of feel like maybe that's not matching up right now, and maybe it's best for him to go to a place right now where he can get a bunch of game reps, get up to speed, and kind of thrive in an area with less spotlight, let's say, because I just don't think on that depth chart it's going to work right now. It's going to be Brock Purdy. It's going to be Sam Darnold. And Shanahan can work wonders with everybody, but he's got to give attention. I just don't think he's got it right now with Trey Lance.
Yeah. It's kind of they learned a lesson, which is it's a win now roster, and you drafted we hope he's good eventually quarterback, and timelines don't match up. So I know it's only a preseason game, but between Sean Payton calling out Hackett and some of the shots at the front office and playing starters into the second quarter, it's hard, Kevin, to not watch that and think, this is not plug and play. It's what did you make of playing starters for series after series after series and mostly struggling?
Yeah, I trust Sean Payton to fix the Broncos. I don't trust Sean Payton to fix Russell Wilson. I was doing some research over the weekend and was stunned to see not only how bad it was last year, which we all knew, but how about this? It was the biggest decline for Russell Wilson by passer rating in the history of the NFL from quarterback switching teams. Matt Castle was the previous record holder when he went to the Chiefs. Alex Smith, when he went to the Commanders, was in the mix as well. But it was 20 points, which doesn't happen for an elite quarterback, which begs the question, is he still elite? And then here's another stat. He held onto the ball too long last year, and he didn't have the legs to extend plays. Well, over the weekend, he was basically second only to Kenny Pickett in time to attempt to pass among established starters last weekend. That's bad. Sean Payton is going to want him to have the quick release, run the offense, all of that stuff. I just don't know if this is going to work. You talk about timelines not matching up. Sean Payton wants to turn this franchise around. Russell Wilson may not be capable of turning it around himself. And so I think that you're going to see a lot of awkwardness. It could be kind of an ugly season as far as that goes, Colin.
Yeah. So you were in Washington. You were at Commanders practice. The timing was sensational. When the Eric Bieniemy story broke, now Shady McCoy was on our show the next day and kind of took it to him and said, like, he can be hard on, like, good players. Forget rookies. What did you make of the story? What did you see? You were right there.
So I was there for 2 days of practice, and there's a couple things. Number one, when you watch Sam Howell or Jake Fromm take forever to throw the ball, I saw Fromm pump faking at the goal line. I wanted to bring out my whistle and stop practice and say, bring it on in, okay? Just come on. I wanted to be the intense guy. But he was making guys finish their drills. He was saying, run an extra 20 yards on a play because you have the open lane. I can see where maybe veterans don't want to do that. But on the other hand, like, Eric Bieniemy is trying to prove he can be a head coach. He hasn't gotten that opportunity. There have been so many weird theories about why, it was Patrick Mahomes, whatever. That didn't happen with Matt Nagy. That didn't happen with a couple other of these offensive coordinators around the league where they get the opportunity despite having the great players. So Eric Bieniemy thinks he has something to prove. And if the Commanders aren't the team and that offense to let him do it, he's got every right to be angry. He's got every right to be intense and get it and drill it over and over again until he gets what he wants. And so I think a little intensity is good. I think you want to talk about, again, the theme of timelines not matching up. First of all, the fans see this as a winning season no matter what because they got rid of Snyder. Josh Harris is trying to evaluate everything. Ron Rivera is trying to save his job. Sam Howell is trying to just exist in the NFL. And Eric Bieniemy is trying to basically prove that he's a head coach. And so I think everybody's got mixed incentives here. I don't know if anybody's rowing in the right direction. It could be a bit of a disaster on the field, but I think this is a long-term project for the Commanders. Getting rid of Snyder is the only thing that matters this year. But listen, the amount of things I saw in practice from the Commanders suggests to me that if Eric Bieniemy is angry and intense, he's the one that's in the right.
Okay. Kenny Pickett, you were at Steelers practice. This is year 2, and it's not your normal year 2. Kenny Pickett was a starter forever at Pitt. He played in the stadium. He should be more comfortable than an average kid who, Anthony Richardson starts a year in Florida, moves up north to Indianapolis. That's going to be clunky. I want to see what Kenny Pickett is. I don't want to see growing. You saw, I think it's time to play. You got 4 years of college starting, I believe. He played last year. It's a great defense, a great culture, a great coach. This is built to succeed pretty quickly, is it not?
He's got the weapons. George Pickens is going to make a huge jump. Pickens was number 1 all time among rookies in contested catches, according to PFF last year. The amount of catches, just statistically, he shouldn't catch that he does is through the roof. I think he was number 2 in the NFL and basically catch percentage above expectation last year. And so you think about the system. You think about the fact that Pickett plays really well in tempo, in 2-minute. I think they know what he does well, and they should just overemphasize that. Get him in tempo. Don't give him too much to think about because, listen, I said the stat earlier. Pickett was basically the slowest quarterback in the NFL over the weekend. He was really slow last year getting rid of the ball.
Yeah.
Speed that up. Make quick decisions, and we know what that is. And so the Steelers are a smart coaching staff. They'll figure it out. They know what guys do well. So I think in year 2, it's what does he do well? Do it. Let your receivers, they're a wide receiver factory, let your receivers do their work. Let Najee Harris do the work. Let the line do the work. This should be a huge step forward for a guy I don't think has an elite ceiling, but has the capability to win a whole bunch of games.
Okay, so Justin Fields. So I saw a stat last week. I was on the air, and I hadn't seen it before, but the staff put the graphic up. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. So I was looking at it live, and it was, Justin Fields' first blankety-blank starts, and then his last, 9 or 10 or whatever it was. And it did jump out to me that he was a significantly more efficient quarterback, and I'd never seen them, parsed this way, in his last, 10 starts. And I was like, wow, that was before DJ Moore. That was before Robert Tonyan. Mm-hmm. And then I watched this weekend, and my takeaway was, oh, finally, they're doing some underneath stuff. Give this kid a freaking break so he doesn't have to be like Big Ben and Josh Allen and run around and be amazing. I watched that game, and I know it's a preseason game. But based on the last, 9 starts or whatever the staff showed me and what I watched, I'm like, okay, I see the inertia. I kind of feel like it's going to work. Mm-hmm. Do you have what's your opinion right now?
I think that I saw a couple people over the weekend say, well, Fields didn't do anything, that it was all yards after catch. And DJ Moore made the play. Yeah, that's the point. That's Ryan Poles doing his job. We know what his floor is, Justin Fields. It's an unbelievable runner and a guy who can make really great throws. We saw that over and over again in college. And the stress he can put on defense is, frankly, special. And I think that, it reminds me, people talked about Lamar Jackson and the throwing lanes he had open because of how good he was at running. And by the way, his accuracy downfield was important. And so I think that we know now to take the easy stuff underneath, make those guys have plays, and then open everything up because you can run. That's the point of having a great player like Justin Fields, is take advantage of everything that he can do. I love what Ryan Poles has done. Luke Getsy is obviously going to be the right man for the job at offensive coordinator. I just think that this offense makes sense. The way they're building it makes sense. And let Justin Fields be Justin Fields. I think a lot of times with some of these young quarterbacks, we say, oh, he doesn't do this, he doesn't do this, he doesn't do this. One thing Bill Belichick sort of revolutionized is saying, what does a guy do well? Let's have him just do that.
Yeah.
And Justin Fields is being put in position to just do the things he does well, and that's a good thing for Bears fans.
Yeah, by the way, here's the graphic the staff used, so first 14 starts, you can see his numbers. He's overwhelmed. He's a kid. Last 11, by the way, a lot of the personnel's the same. You're like, oh, that's something. And then, it's interesting. This has been my knock on Buffalo. They haven't graduated beyond, hey, Josh Allen, go be amazing. Like they did this with Cam forever. It's like, okay, we have to graduate to not relying on Cam to be the run game. And so I watch the Bears, and I'm like, this is great. Use his mobility, get the ball out, let guys. They were last in the league last year. I don't know if you said this, in yards after catch. Kansas City was number 1. So even with Mahomes, Andy Reid's giving him layups. I don't know. I
completely agree. I also think we've gotten to this weird place now, Colin, where making adjustments as a staff is seen as a bad thing or an admission of limitations of a player. No, that's what you're supposed to be doing. Everybody's job at Hallis Hall is to make Justin Fields' life easier, and that's what's happening right now, and that's why I think everybody should be pretty encouraged.
Okay, Kevin Clark, the Ringer, always good. He does Slow News Day video cast, which is a riot. Kevin, as always, good seeing you. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.